Hi, guys, and welcome to today's show where I'm joined by Brad and Mike, Brad Maybry and Mike Pearse, for anyone who doesn't know who these guys are. So, looking forward to a brand spanking new show, joined by guys of this stature, is going to make for some good videos. And so let's just go right into it and introduce Brad first. Can you give, just for the audience who don't know too much about you, just a bit of a background of what you've been doing over the last few years and how you make money?
Yeah, over the last few years, I've really transitioned into PPL, paper lead marketing. And I've done that because like most people that own a client agency, I really don't like dealing with clients on a day in, day out basis. If I work with clients at all, it's going to be teaming up with someone that does more so handle that part of it. So I can just sit down and focus on pumping out properties, pumping out map listings, pumping out, just sheer pages to pull in traffic and just drive calls. The goal's 1 to 2 G a day from that, and then everything else is gravy. So
and Mike, yourself?
I think the last few years, pretty much the same story as Brad. I followed this guy around and try to be like Brad, kind of like Michael Jordan, but been doing this since 2001. So I think like 19 years now. Got to work with Brad. What was it, 2015, 16?
Yeah, I think 15 is when we hung out at the event. Yeah. You put me in your backpack. We rode around.
Yeah. Yeah, we've had some misadventures, that's for sure. I think that we've started, I can't count the agencies we started since then, and it's been always a focus on PPL for me pretty much for the most part, with some media type stuff, larger sites, larger brands that are out there. Worked with like Jaguar and Jose Cuervo, people like that, just doing the agency stuff, but then also the PPL is where the money is and where the fun is, I think. So
fucking hell, I had no ideas you've actually done work for clients as well. I thought it was all just PPL, and that was it. I thought clients were out the window with you guys. But for guys that don't also know, these guys were in charge of the very well-known NFG Rockstars, or I know there's a few different name variations that people call that event. These guys were the guys behind No Fucks Given Rockstars, which is probably, it wasn't the biggest event I've ever spoke at in terms of people being there, but probably up there with the best in terms of knowledge. I was blown away by even the fucking guys that the attendees knew their shit as well, and I was just like, fuck. There's some mad guys just in attendance, mind-blowing stuff. And obviously you guys talking about what you do, how you make money, and the niches that you operate in was for me, it was mind-blowing anyway. And obviously, young Gary came over with me, and a few of the other guys that we met over there were like, fuck. But that's a great thing, right? It's there's different ways to make money online, and PPL is one where people get scared. They're like, oh, the risk's on me. Am I really that good? Am I good enough to be able to make this work? Whereas you guys seem to have just went for it, in sheer scale, just like there isn't even a question of failure that goes through you guys' heads. It's just like, this is what we're going to fucking do, and this is what we're going to make, and it just happens. So, how does that work? Do you just, do you have crazy investment? Is it always down to kind of crazy tactics? What makes you guys think that, fuck it, we're just going to go in here and clean up?
I mean, in my opinion, doing PPL for me takes all the pressure off. Right. Because the pressure comes when you're working for someone else, you're working for a client, they're hammering you every day. Now, if I fuck up, it doesn't really matter. In all honesty, you can screw up, 5-6 times, but if you hit that one, then you're making money. So in my opinion, it's a lot less stressful for that. As far as advanced tactics, it's getting a system where you can repeat it easily and just cranking it out. It doesn't have to be extreme ninja stuff. We do have some of that stuff that we do, but as long as you can do it quickly and pump it out. And my biggest investment are bots and stuff like that, so I don't have to hire a ton of VAs, and I can make a bot that's gonna buy a domain, set it up, switch out the keywords, set it up on the server, and then send it to an indexing service, and then I can pump out 100, 200 different sites in a day, not like the
big thing
math page.
I think is when it comes down to client work, working with larger companies, we've had clients that have 14, 15 attorneys in their staff, right? And that's when SEO becomes a pain in the ass, is when you're having to jump through legal hoops. You take a year to pitch a contract, 6 months to pitch a contract, you land it. It's a great contract, but now you're dealing with their legal department every time you want to change something on the site. In Payday, that's always been a pain in the ass to work Payday, because I much prefer lead gen and Payday, just because of the fact that the clients are always there's just so much compliance that you have to deal with and shit in the US. So it just makes it that much more of a pain in the ass. Brad's 100% correct. It's much easier to just go generate leads and pull in money off of the leads than deal with the legal department, because we can go ahead and twist whatever rules we want. We don't have to worry about somebody getting pissed and saying, oh, well, we're just not going to pay this fucking contract this month because we don't like how they acted like on this 10 sites or 100 sites or whatever the hell we did that month, right?
And you don't have someone begging you to show links either every month. That's the biggest.
Yeah, that fucking sucks ass. Can totally relate to that. But on, what you said, Brad, making a bot that just fucking buys the domain, makes the website, you can churn that shit out 200 a day. Obviously you may have the skills and techniques to be able to do that for yourself, but is there anything like that we can get, the average Joe like me who is not good at making bots? What can we use?
I never actually make my own. Honestly, I've got a guy in Poland. You can find anyone on Upwork. The big thing is knowing that you can automate processes. So once that clicks, then you're like, okay, what can I get rid of in this process? What am I repetitively doing? Am I cleaning up spreadsheets? Am I doing this? Am I doing that? And then you go in and you sit out and you're like, okay, I'm going to write it down step by step, what my process is for this, every little thing. The more detailed that you can get on that, then you just make a sheet or I call it a spec sheet, but it's just a Word doc. You take the images of it as the process, as you go through the process. And then you have the spec sheet that you can give to your bot guy. I have a bot guy. I've never created one myself. But once you have that, you send it over to him. He or she asks questions back and forth, and then you get something developed that works. And I create extremely simple bots because I joke with Mike, if it's any more complicated than a caveman level, then I got to send it over to Mike, and he can work it out with the dev. But it's just simple tasks that you do every day that you can shit out. Like I had one when we were cloaking a ton of sites. What do we have
for the finance stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was, I don't know, dude. It was between like 3 and 5. It's like, I think about 3,000 for that campaign, 225 to 35.
So instead of going in and installing a simple WordPress plugin that doesn't take long to set up, if you do one of them, but if you do thousands of them, it's going to take you all days and days.
And that's with software on top of it too, because we create SaaS for most of our tasks too. So there's software, but then there's always something that has to be done by a human, even if you're just going in and tweaking one little item on a freaking theme for 3,000, 5,000 sites, whatever. I mean, we've had more. That's like a smaller, I would say, when we were doing like other shit, we had up closer.
What was the rehab that we did? How many servers do we have?
I don't know, dude.
We had 500 sites a server. We had at least 10 servers. So that was 5,000 for that one.
Yeah, easy.
Yeah. The Payday one was bigger though.
And even just the map listings tied to the websites, when you're getting into the thousands of listings and thousands of websites, you can't do that shit by hand, and it's a waste of money to pay VAs, right? So there's a campaign where we're getting pissed because we're managing, 3,000 sites, and there's 13 VAs working, and we're paying them, $3-4 an hour, and that's just pissing me and Brad off, because that's money that we could be pocketing, or we could be giving to our family and putting in their mouth, right? Mm-hmm. So that's one thing, because we talk about diversification a lot, and that leads into, it's always about return on investment and optimizing your return. So the best link prices you can get that are the most effective, no VAs, bots, not VAs. This is a big thing that we've always kind of stuck with. Software whenever we can, so that our time is maximized, because to us, and it's wealth is really in free freaking time, dude. I'd rather be outside in the sun than sitting on my computer worrying about something, so if it can be automated, it needs to be automated, and then we can use our time wisely and stuff.
Man, so what sort of other things out of the usual, because here, I think in the UK, we are probably somewhat behind what you guys do. And that's one thing I took away from NFG. And it was actually Dory who said something. I can't remember exactly what she said, but she's like, if I can't automate it, I'm not fucking interested. And I'm like, these guys just want to fucking automate every last fucking thing. And that's quite a cool position to be in, where you can literally just set your shit up and fuck off outside and play with your kids or do whatever. But are you literally automating 95% of the process here? I mean, tell us some of the things that you guys are actually automating.
We've got listings automated to the full extent of everything. I mean, there's a bot sitting on one of my freaking laptops here as a VPS that's running freaking link wheels on a freaking map listings, right? So if it's not automated, websites, there's websites automated, everything's automated that we can. Link building is different because I build it in a specific way. So I'm paying someone to do that. If I can pay for it, if I can automate it, that's what I'm going to do, because when I was new into this industry, I wanted to do this shit myself because I love it. I love doing SEO, but I don't
feel like that's how 95% of the people are when they
get stuck in it and they don't make money. Yeah. They get stuck in caring about how badass of an SEO they are instead of worrying about their business, right? And to me, that's one of the big issues for people, and that's why I've seen hundreds of people come through, and I will say 99% of them get stuck at $20,000 a month. 99% of them can't go over $20,000 a month because they can't break the mindset of, I've got to be this solo SEO. I've got to do this shit myself, right? You can go lean instead of solo, and you can start building companies that actually excel. And, I think the quickest that we've seen a company build to 7 figures was in like 2-3 months, but that was a perfect storm to hit 7 figures in 2-3 months. And it wasn't just me, it wasn't just Brad, and it wasn't just the two of us, it was with another person, right? So I think it's Stack That Money said it right. He's a dude that has a forum, but he said it right when he said affiliate marketing these days, it's very rare where someone can go in and be the solo affiliate, like when I was doing it back in 2005 and shit like that, and be able to fucking smash it to the tune of $5,000 a day by myself, not checking the fucking shit and just having it go, right? That doesn't happen as much anymore. What happens now is a team comes together that knows what the fuck they're doing. They take the skills of everybody on the team and they kill it, right? So they automate everything they can do. They write software when they can, and then they use the skills of everybody else, right? And that's how you excel. So that's a hard thing to do because it takes risks. It's like you said, that's why it's NFG, because to do this to the extent that I think people need to do it, you have to not worry about failure. You have to not worry about certain things, and you have to just go for it. I can't tell you how many times we've been ripped off because we go for it, shit, dude, we're out so much commission, 7 figures of commission, because people just don't decide to pay shit, right? In a given year. So it just is what it is. That's going to happen sometimes, dude. And it's like I tell my kids, dude, if you fail, just keep fucking trying so you can get it done, right? So, that's my rant. I'm done with that.
Someone's asking here, Ryan Durrani, do you see the pay-per-lead industry becoming saturated in the near future?
I consider it saturated now. I was around when it wasn't like this. It's going to change for sure, but there's you're a person, Craig's a person, Brad's a person, Ryan. And if you're networking with people and you have the skills to get done what you say you can get done, it just takes one conversation to make it fucking work. And that's why just don't stop doing what you're doing and keep building your skills and look for the opportunities, because it's all about the opportunities, man. There's money. I couldn't make freaking 80% of the money I make without other people in my life, dude. And that was a big mistake I made when I started out for years, dude, till like 2010, 11, 12, maybe when I met Jordan, dude, like 2010 when I started working with Jordan Pearse. That's when I really first started working with somebody, was back then in 2010, and I'd already been doing it for 9 years. And that kept me, Chris, the pinpoint of what took it to the next level really was meeting people and not just doing it by myself. That's what actually kicked it through the blocks. Is actually, because now I'm held responsible and I'm accountable to Brad. I'm accountable to my other partners. Because I can make money, right? We can all make money. We know what to do online to make money, but that doesn't mean we're going to push ourselves. But now I'm sitting here and Brad's like, okay, I have an idea. Let's do this, or this opportunity came to me. We're like, let's go do it. So that pushes you to go further than you have to go, right? Because everyone can get to a certain point, but if you want to push yourself and go further, that's your choice. You don't have to. I mean, it's good to, personally, in my opinion, because it gives you more time. But it really was the people around me that took it to the next level. It's not me.
And I'm not really worried about PPL being oversaturated, because the way I look at it is look at the multitude of niches. How many, go to any affiliate site that does the PPL, mods and stuff. But like, what is it? Like Astoria, what have you got? Palo, any of those, go in there and there's how many in there? Hundreds of them. And then you can take those, if you know how to do basic keyword research, you can dig into each one of those, find the different silos for those, and that expands it to thousands of keywords. And then you take that, and on top of it, you put how many zip codes are in the US, like 30, 40, 50,000, something like that, maybe more. Then you take that, each one of those keywords, and you tie it to a different city. You've got hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of keywords that you can go after, and you just keep chipping away at that and different angles. When you start getting creative, you can go after the tough niches. Like Mike and I have done, huge rehab campaigns, back in the day, but when we did that, we just broke it down into sub segments, systemized it, and then just took over everything. Is the goal. We're not going to rank for drug rehab nationally anytime soon.
Why waste the money doing that? There's more money in the long tail anyways.
Yeah. But surely the level of shit that you guys go to in terms of whatever the hell you're automating in the background, whatever you're running, there's not many other guys actually going to that level. I know a lot of guys who do PPL and, they'll buy some citations and they'll do a few bits and bobs. But you guys are going way deeper than that.
Everything is a money side. That's one core thing that we always look at. Every freaking property that you put up online, any website has to make you money or pay for itself, or it's dead weight. So if it's not paying for its own hosting, it's not paying for its own registration, anything that you're paying to do that marketing with should be cut at the end of the year all the time. There's no question. You need to cut it if it's not making money and keep going, right? So everything is a money site. So when we're talking about 2,000 sites, 3,000 sites, a lot of the times that has a listing on every website. It's treated just like, and I got an argument maybe a month ago with somebody about how there's no difference between client work and PPL work, because no matter what, and depending on your client, you're just going to a certain level based on what they're comfortable with, and you're going to what you're comfortable with when you're doing it. Now, there's a question in there about citations, and does it help rank in GMB, like global websites? And at that point, what I'm going to say is I'd rather be building more damn listings than building citations for a listing and not worry about it. So we have a method we use all the time. We're going to build out that entity. We're going to do all our marketing. We're going to let it go. And then it's going to sit there, because we're not going to sit there and market 2,000, 3,000, 5,000 websites every day, all day. They're going to get a touch. And then there's going to be a monthly kind of run across everything to keep pushing everything and keep everything kind of buoyant and flowing up into the rankings. But realistically, it's like there's one of the highest paid keywords in PPC Brad's freaking dicking around with right now that he's pushing on page 1 with. Is there any budget on that at all, dude?
No, it's just the domain cost. It's the only budget.
Yeah. So, I mean, and this is a keyword that people would freaking cream to rank for. And now there's traffic on it because, and like you just said, there's no damn budget on it. So when you start working smart, you start to see where you can drop your budget down. I don't need to worry about this. I don't need to worry about that. I can just do this and this works, right? And a lot of the times all it takes is the right keyword research, putting up a site and listing, and you're done, dude. So I would not worry about just continuing to build local citations. I would worry about how you can get more traffic. And because you get a listing up or a site up, it's what? It's like $8.99 unless you get it on sale for $1.99 for the domain registration. Hosting's nothing, you know. Say $12 in limited hosting.
I host them all on a VPS. My PPL sites typically, unless I'm interlinking them, then I'll host them on a either through Cloudflare or on a PBN style hosting where it's varied IPs. I don't mean like SEO host or anything like that, but PBN style, traditional PBN style hosting. But if I'm not worrying about that, if I'm just plug and chug, get them up, they're going to be listed on the VPS and just let it rip. So
Chris Powell is basically saying here, so you're verifying, building a site, moving on to the next location, and basically blanketing zip codes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, blanketing cities. You know, I say zip codes because there's a lot more zip codes, but yeah, blanket city plus state. That's what we do. Yep.
If it's adjusted for every campaign based on what's needed for that campaign. So, you know, that's why the basics are so damn important. Your keyword research and your market research is like the end all be all of everything, because once you have the right process and connection, all it comes down to is being in the right place at the right time. So, you know, there was the question about breaking through. I recently, and we're pushing up some new campaigns in a construction market because I moved and somebody builds freaking log homes, and now we get to go market that shit, right? And I'm not worried about talking about my market because I know nobody out here is going to go meet the same dude as me. And it's another point on saturation. So I'm marketing log homes in a specific couple states, but I'm not worried about saying that because nobody can touch my market because they can't get the offer I can get. I don't do public offers. I do private offers when I can. And so, you know, there's all this market, this niche. I can't talk about it, but it doesn't matter. People can't touch you when you do this right. Like, nobody can come in and recreate what you have. I can come in and recreate you, Craig. It's just not possible. I don't have the connections in the UK that you do. So I can walk over and take your freaking business, right? There is a question about, do you send links at every site you build? Or I send a lot of links. Yeah, I'm a big link builder. There's a lot of times when you don't need to.
Yeah, I'm more of an on-page, honestly. If you get the on-page right, like
it's
we were talking
99%.
about earlier, yeah, it's not necessary. So I link when necessary, but typically no. And a gold nugget for everyone, since it's our first show too, as I'm doing the different domains, go ahead and use the same content on everything and just switch out the geo. So if you're doing personal injury lawyer, you know, Greensboro, North Carolina, and then you want to do a Raleigh one, you just Control H, switch it out, upload it to you can be the same server, everything. And if the Greensboro one ranks, typically the Raleigh one will rank, depending on local competition. But that's a big time saver for everyone.
For links, I mean, realistically, a lot of it right now, I pay a lot of attention. I know, Craig, I think you're talking about this too. I pay a lot of attention to metrics. I pay a lot of attention to things. Depending on where I'm at, CTR versus, I don't know if we're talking about YouTube here, Craig, are we, or what? I mean, it's just.
These guys are going to be, I think most of these guys are talking about GMBs and shit like that.
Gotcha. That sounds good then. Same thing. It doesn't matter where you're at. There's places where lower CTR is better, but that's when you understand your metrics, why they're better when it's lower. But paying attention to your metrics is going to fucking move you like crazy too. So link building, we're paying attention to everything. It's a holistic marketing campaign. You're looking at everything on the site and you're just kind of making sure that you're doing what needs to be done for that site and that campaign. So if you see that the freaking metrics are bouncing, it might be your damn conversion rate. It might be the fact that you don't have the right freaking links pointing at your shit. It's just that's where the basics come back into play. So that's why we've always focused on the basics and everything, and not worried. When I was younger, I worried about finding every little ninja hack that I could find. I found a lot of the fucking ones that people use out there and talk about it. I'll tell you that right now. But I don't use them anymore because it's not as fucking efficient. It doesn't make as much money, right? So there's things that I'd rather do than certain things that I might have used 10 years ago that people are now talking about that I won't touch anymore because it's easier to do it a different way. So just be out there doing your freaking marketing. I mean, if you're doing your campaigns and you're making money, you're going to learn how to do freaking all the ninja shit, but you're going to figure out how to automate it, or you're going to figure out how to do it more efficiently in a way that's not going to take as much effort, dude. So, and a lot of the times the ninja shit ends up taking more effort than the fucking basic shit. So it just does.
Especially when you stack crap and stuff like that. That takes forever. And in my opinion, the benefit from it's minimized now at this point.
So Chris Palmer's asking, when you launch a bunch of websites, are you securing the contract first or just fucking going for it?
Always have something to make money with. You're wasting money if you don't have it. There's no reason. I don't like this rank and rent stuff. I mean, and no offense to anyone that's doing it, making money, but to me, it never made any sense to go build something and then try to sell it. The only thing I used to do was I would do review posts, and then I'd contact the person I reviewed and tell them that, hey, I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to sell this ad space. I want to offer it to you first because it's your review, but I might have to sell it to your competitor if you don't buy it. So that's the only thing that rank and rent that I used to do. It's a little shady. I don't do it that much anymore. I don't do it at all anymore. But at one point, I didn't really give a shit. So extortion worked.
Unless it's something like Mike's log home stuff where he knows the guy and everything, and then he goes with it. I like to have at least one or two backups, because then you can start doing cool stuff with call flow at that point and make even more money per day. So I always like to have at least one, if not two or three backups to each offer that I have, and then go for the private one, but use the public offer first. And then, once you get it built up, then you can start reaching out to private deals. And that's when things really start to kind of build momentum at that point.
Alex, IFTTT, it basically is an extra step that, I mean, it depends on who I'm having do it, but if it's going to be Merca or someone like that, then it'll be IFTTT. But most of the time, the larger stuff is just getting built out in a static way that we do for everything, just to make sure that it's established.
Yeah, just have, if it's an IFTTT gig that happens to build all of those, then I'll go with IFTTT. IFTTT. How many T's are on IFTTT?
3,
4, 5, 6. But yeah. If that's just an added bonus, because a lot of times that breaks anyway, so I don't really depend on it.
Yeah, and there's reasons to use RSS in certain things, and there's ways. I mean, I've got full on freaking networks that still utilize RSS setup in the way that I always have set it up. But for the most part, we're focused around like listings and sites. So. And then YouTube and crap like that. Just honestly anything that gets traffic. And I was actually I actually want to know if anyone out there's been using Hulu freaking ads yet, because I've been looking at them, and now that they've opened up everything, it's interesting. So if you've been using Hulu, let me know. I want to know some metrics on that stuff. That's my little freaking shady freaking request today. If you've used Hulu, let me know. How does your link building's tiered? Always tiered, dude. Gary does a great job, dude, and Gary's tiers freaking work. Tiering just works. If you look at the way the mechanism on the bot is set up, and there's a patent from 2015. If you look at that patent, you need that one and maybe 2 or 3 other patents to understand how SEO works all the time, forever. It never changes, and it will not flipping change. It doesn't matter what anyone says. There's going to be core aspects that have been ingrained into this from the beginning. Even when AI is there, this is going to still be happening when you're looking at the other add-ons for rank modification. It's going to be there forever. So as long as because there is progressive and incremental indexing, and we're not going to get into it today because I could go for fucking hours on progressive and incremental indexing. And this is why some link building works and some link building doesn't. It's the way the spider works and how they crawl. And if you understand the crawl, then you understand why tiered link building works and why you need to be doing tiered link building. Why a freaking edit is better than a freaking guest post. Why a guest post with tiers behind it with edits is better than just a guest post, right? It has to do with specific items in their patents that are actually explaining the way that this freaking technology works. It's just a computer, dude. It's just a program. So if you're a programmer, look at those patents and understand. So sometime we'll go into the patent on Tuesday and look at it. But managing leads at this scale is always different. There's a question about how are you managing leads at this scale, and that is always a different thing based on the campaign and what the lead buyer wants, right? Most of the time we're selling calls though. Data is cool, and data is something that we collect, but data is a secondary, because then you sell the lead, you can also sell the data line, so you can make up 2 to 10 cents per line of information, no matter what the thing is. I've got buyers that will buy for Disney, and if you grab the leads, you can sell the leads, sell the phone calls, and you can also sell the data, which is name, phone number, email, so they can build their lists and do their spam, and you can make 2 cents, 10 cents on each line. So always try to make money on every item, every piece of data or phone call that you collect, and resell that as much as you can legally. Legally is the disclaimer these days.
Yeah,
guys.
I like having just based on call at the lowest conversion point possible, meaning I'd rather have a lower paying 20-second call conversion than a higher paying 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 3-minute conversion. So that's what I look for in my PPL campaigns.
Cool. And just for Josh McAdams, who is Gary? Gary at getmelinks.com. We will have him on as a guest in the coming weeks as well. We'll get him on here to talk about tiered link building and all of that shit, because today we're just introducing Brad and Mike and letting them flex a few muscles. But as Mike said, there's certain elements that he could go into and talk shit for hours on a lot of this stuff. But yeah, Gary Wilson is the man that does that. Now, Just Free Hub is asking for honest advice on linking PBNs to the GMB. You guys do any shit like that?
I mean, I think the last time I was using it was a year ago, but that was all CID shit that I've been doing since 2009 or 8. And that's just usually edits directly through the back of the CID to it. And there's a tiered structure that I use specifically for the CID push that works. And there's a certain anchor text ratio I use on the CID that works. And the CID is usually going to be commercial with navigational. I mean, intent, when I talk about commercial and navigational and everything, I'm talking about intent of the search query. So your anchor text is just your search query. Basically, you need to look at links like they're freaking like it's a user metric, like it's user experience. User experience is everything in SEO. And a link is just another way to get a person to click something and move to your website. So if you look at it like that, then you're going to start doing your link building correctly. So it's all this mystical shit can be broken down into like key concepts that make it easier to digest. So when you hear all this crazy shit, it always comes back to the basics, and you'll hear it say it a lot, because my anchor text is based on what I see in my markets, based on my metrics and my campaigns, man. And I'm going to build what makes sense for that. And it's going to work because that comes down into all the relevancy and everything that you can do with the link building. And so it all has to do with a lot of key elements that come back to those SEO basics, no matter if it's on site internally or if it's from another site externally. So you look at what's going on with.
Don't forget if you're using PBNs to push your GMBs. Don't forget citations. Don't forget to link to your social, to your money site. Like Mike mentioned, the CID. You can link to everything because you have complete control. You can add relevant content on the PBN that pushes back to the post that links out from your PBN to your GMB.
That's a good point, Brad. We should go into that just a little bit. When that question came up, it's like, is there a specific tactic? Well, if we're going to put a link out, if I'm going to put up a link, I'm going to put a link, like Brad said, I'm going to point it to my page that I'm trying to rank. I'm going to point it to my freaking Facebook page. I'm going to point it to my YouTube channel. I'm going to point that same page to multiple properties.
Get a map
so
everything.
You're hitting your ranked page, but you're also hitting your entity underneath it through all the social media maps, whatever it is, because you can look at everything like a link. All the social media, they're all edges. That's all they are. They're just edges that connect different pages, and that's it. And when you get into cluster groups and things like that in the patents, that's all it comes down to, is like a Facebook post about a payday loan is in a cluster of social media sites. It's in a cluster of Facebook posts. It's in a cluster of payday loan sites, right? It's in these pages. So it's broken down into these pages. And when you link that shit together correctly, it makes it work. And that's why tiered linking works. So again, just the simple thing is link to as many things that benefit you on a single page as you can.
Yeah. Makes a lot of sense. Someone else is asking Facebook ads versus Google ads for a new blog website. What would you suggest?
Both.
Whichever you can get cheaper. Yeah.
Yeah. If you can spin up virtual credit cards, then you can do it with Google a lot easier than Facebook, I find. So, but we're not going to talk about that today.
Yeah, you get the social aspect more with Facebook, but if your Google traffic has more of a chance to convert, then I would go with that. So, but traffic's traffic.
And Alan Snyder, with the Google Guarantee program up, do you find it worth it to pursue local contractor type lead gen anymore? I find Google sucking up the volume.
I do in the case, like I mentioned, log homes. If it's a specific market, I'm not going to go after everything. Like, HVAC and plumbing is where everyone jumps to when they first get in, and I'm not going to go after a campaign like that unless it's a fucking major company.
Throughout COVID, though, my home services have done exceptionally well, and that's all the
really
map listings. So it's some of the stuff, some of the rehab stuff, they had to kind of change because they can't accept anyone from New York, etc. But to make up for that lost income, the home services really has pulled through during COVID. I was surprised.
And it's also honestly like divorce attorneys have been doing really well. I know people that are doing divorce, they're doing well. There's hazmat's doing really well, like cleanup for people that are renting for
cleanup now. Yeah,
COVID.
A bunch of stuff. Yeah.
Like if you watch the news, like Brad makes a really good point. Like if you watch the news and you see where the trends in the world are going, you can be ahead of this shit before the whole industry's talking about it and be established before people get there.
Yeah, and unfortunately, there's a big tort for the Boy Scout stuff now, which is horrible to think about. But it is a campaign that people could run. I actually had my guy reach out to me the other day from one of the networks. He said, "Do you want to run this?" I was like,
"Nope,
fuck no, I don't want to run that." But yeah, that's stuff comes up. So,
young dude, James, that was funny.
Ryan Durani's asking, which patent did you say from 2015 was worth reading again? I can't remember which one you said.
I'm going to drop a link. Do a search for the role of content groups. So Search Engine Journal is the site. Do a site search for Search Engine Journal and look at the content group. So do content groups, search intent, site searchenginejournal.com, and that'll pull up what I'm talking about. And then you can explore from there.
Good man. Good man. We've got someone asking, and I'm going to ask it because it's the second time he has asked, does adding multiple keywords in Yoast helps ranking your website for multiple keywords? If not, how can we rank your website homepage for multiple keywords?
Use cognitive SEO and look into lexiconical stuffing. So it's not keyword stuffing, it's lexiconical stuffing, and cognitive SEO, hands down, is the best way to do the quickest research. There's no question. You can do it with other tools. Go ahead.
Oh, no, you're good. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying there's tools that'll do it. It takes more. So
yeah. I was just going to say the only thing I really use Yoast for is, title tag manipulation and WordPress and stuff like that. Just putting the keyword in just tells you how optimized you are for that specific keyword, right? I think.
Yeah.
Adding more keywords in there isn't going to help. Like Mike said, you want to have one primary term and then have all these supporting keywords, and that's what your content is built.
I think the biggest pull. We had a 500-word article, and because I was doing the research at the time for lexiconical stuffing, and I think the biggest pull we had was about 1,200 keywords ranked for the 500 words that we wrote. And so when you do this correctly, that's why we say on page is 99% of this. Like you can't do it without some of the off page a lot of the time, but the on page, when you do your shit correctly, it will exponentially. We have a process when we were doing a lot of client shit for larger companies where we had someone buy a site that they spent $120,000 on a website, $150,000 on a website. They're partners of ours at the time. And so it started tanking. There was something with the links too, but we excelled beyond where it was after it tanked, or before it tanked because of the lexiconical stuffing and the on-page optimization. So when you do that correctly, and this is just gets back into entities. So if you understand entities correctly, then you can use lexiconical stuffing to pull in traffic for everything. So when that process works, I've seen it go from ranking for 10 keywords to 500 keywords to 1,000 keywords by doing it correctly and fixing the on page. So and we don't do a lot of tracking anymore because we haven't changed the way we do SEO since 2016. I don't think it hasn't changed at all for us. And I think that's about right. But it works all the time. It will always work. And I don't like to talk about it like lexiconical stuffing because people talk about how it doesn't work, this and that, but it absolutely works. People try to get my attention by saying that this tool doesn't work anymore. And I always respond to them when they say that to me because I know it works and I like to fuck with them. But look into lexiconical stuffing, look into entities and do your on page based around that. And you will pull more traffic. There's no question.
Yeah, take it from Mike. He tries this shit out and has a massive amount of success. I think, you know, what is a good thing to touch on as well. Obviously, you guys are fucking neck deep. You know your shit and all of that kind of stuff. But where do you guys keep up? Where do you get more knowledge and better, you know, ideas and shit like that? You know, because you guys are ahead of the game. You've been in it for years. But how do you keep remaining ahead of the game and don't, you know, fall too far behind? Is there a place where you guys learn or people you follow? You know, how do you continue to develop?
I talk to the people I've known for a long time that are still doing this. You know, I've known them for years. I don't really talk to them a lot anymore because a lot of people are just retired. They don't want to do it anymore, so they're doing other shit. I got a buddy who started a skate park, things like that. But I don't read anything specific. I don't follow anyone specific. We do this stuff. And then if I want to research a topic, I'll go find it. I really try to keep a freaking rule in my life that I don't input anything into my brain that is going to fucking sidetrack me. So I try not to. I have ADD and shit. So if I start doing that kind of shit, I'll read shit all day long. So I can't look at anything. I just have to do it and then look at something when I want to learn something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just practicing every day, doing it, and then the small community of people that we have around us are pretty solid. Just working with different people, and you learn different stuff doing that. Like I some of the best SEOs I know aren't in the limelight at all. You know, Mike and I are lucky enough to work with a guy who he's like, I do not want to do any of that crap. He's pushed for some of the biggest terms I've seen in the past, and the dude's brilliant, but he doesn't want to be in the limelight. But working with people like that, having a small network of just badass online marketers around you that you can consult with, work with, all that type of stuff, and just practicing, doing it every day. You know, if you pump out enough stuff, you're gonna, know what's working. Just kind of without looking at it.
That guy, he recently pushed something. I think the site popped to 20,000, and he's not spending more than $100 a month on that campaign, maybe 200, dude. Yeah. So that's a return right there. I mean, that's one site in a high fucking competition financial market and shit. So I think when you have the right people around you and you're just working, it's like when I met Angel. He came over to buy consulting from me, Angel Cruz, and I said, no, dude, let's work together. Because when you see someone that's worth spending time with, you better be working with those people, because that's how you learn, is by doing it with people that know what the fuck they're doing. So yeah,
that's a good way to look at it, rather than go your different ways. Team up, as you say. I think sometimes when you start out, you're like, yeah, I'm not sharing shit with no one. I'm not fucking telling this guy my secrets. But you two guys have made a massive success in joining forces, and as have many others. But what I do want to ask you guys, there's going to be a lot of people here, and I know some of the guys that are in the chat there who are going to be going, fuck me, paper lead, the thing I need to be getting into. Now, you mentioned that you automate a lot of this stuff. Do you guys use Serp Shaker, or what's the kind of current mass page builder that everyone
we have uses? We wrote, so I mean, we put a lot of the software out there that's out there right now that people use. That was private code of ours, and we've gone into business with people. They've put up software, improved, and helped with our help. They've made changes and stuff based on when it is in the industry. So I use software that we've written, that we've modified, that we've got code from in different sources over the years. I think the same code has been around for like 8 years. It's just been growing and growing and growing. So like, I mean, SERPX is out. I can't recommend anything public right now because of things that have changed. I don't know where certain software is right now. Brad, do you have any input on that?
I mean, SERP Shaker is good, but if you're going to do that, do smaller cluster sites. Like I talk to people and they're doing 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 page sites with SERP Shaker, and it's not really going to gain traction. What you want to do is go grab a good expired domain that's in your niche, set it up, and just take over an area, state at most. So you go that route and do that. But honestly, I saw Scott asked a question: how much content are you doing per page on average, and how many pages, stuff like that. I have a crap ton of just single page sites out there. And that's my new way of doing mass page builders. Is I'll have a bot created that goes out, and like I said, it'll buy the domain, it'll set it up on the server, it'll throw in the short codes where I want it to, and it'll just shit them out. So I've got to build the HTML theme once, and then it goes in and unzips everything and puts in the right keywords where I want them to be, and then but that's completely on my own.
The only large sites I would build right now is if there is a way you can make money off of a large directory site that actually has a good focus and throw those out.
Work, yeah.
They always come back, dude. They always come back. They get their limelight, they go away. They get their limelight, they go away. I mean, shit just cycles in this industry anyways. I don't think for the last few years or 2 years, I don't think we built anything over a few hundred pages at max, and that I would consider a large site. And I would not go over 5 or 10 pages right now, maybe 20 at most, just to pull in a tight, relevant thing. Because everything we build, we've always used it as our linking as well. So we have very specific structures that we've always used in our networks to build tiers of sites, and they go to larger size sites down at the bottom to smaller size sites, depending on what industry and what we're doing. So keeping it tight and relevant is extremely important, and it always will be. It won't change. Now, I'm not saying I do have sites that are huge still that are pulling in traffic that have to do with what's going on right now in the world that have been around for a while, and newer ones, but that shit pulls in traffic being larger. It's just not something we focus. There's more money and there's more conversion in listings and sites that are relevant. So the sites are just a landing page for a listing, in my opinion, at this point in my life. That's just kind of what it is. You're building a website to make the listing rank better, and that's all that shit is for. You don't even care about that. That can capture the data. You can cloak off the traffic for YouTube or different things. If I have usually when we have mass page, we're using a traffic distribution system and some cloaking to send our traffic either to make views on video sites or over to a site where the conversion is better than the mass page site, and that's what it's for. And that's how you do this with larger companies, because we've done a lot of cloaking for larger companies where you're not taking the risk on their site, because that could get their site in trouble. You can get sued, but you can build a whole bunch of shit down there that can never be found and connected to you, and shove that traffic over to their site, spoof it so it looks like whatever, and then let them think it's Google traffic or whatever the hell you want, Facebook traffic, and go that way if you're going to go that way. But you just go ahead.
That could be a great topic for next week. If we do the show cloaking and spoofing shit, could be a great topic for next week.
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah, that's easy.
Yeah, that's fine.
Just doing it forever. Just on a personal level, but yeah, sorry. But Chris Palmer's asking, Mike, were you working on an advanced correlation tool? Is that still ongoing?
That's Ted. Ted is, I just always have kind of looked at what Ted's doing. I've helped on a lot of different stuff for sure. But no, we're not building any advanced. We're building other shit right now, not correlation tools. I don't really do a lot of correlation. I like it, but see, I'm not going to make a lot of money off of correlation. It's going to take a lot more time to correlate shit and try to rank that way, rather than using the processes we put together that are just simple, and we just need to find a direction and then just build, right? So while I have a big ass nerdy geek in me that wants to read patents all day and wants to do that kind of stuff, it's not where the money is. And the money's more in actually just getting shit out and pulling in traffic and making money. So not right now. We're working on something else right now, but we're not talking about that yet.
Cool. Someone else is asking, how does someone get started with these strategies? Would you advise someone just coming into the industry, which I'm assuming this guy is, would you advise it just going hell for leather and going out for your kind of strategies is the way forward, or should they cut their teeth somewhere else first?
I would learn the basics first for sure, and then you can do that in many places. I mean, you want to learn what the hell. Now, here's the thing. The basics can be as detailed as you want, and some people find it from an online training course. Some people find it doing their own research. It's all out there for you if you want to go dig through patents. You want to read
go
old
through
ass
Craig's YouTube channel too. You know, it's
and things like that. Absolutely, like that will help you. But the biggest thing is don't get the shiny object syndrome that we're all guilty of in here. I mean, most of the people, there's a lot of people in this industry that have ADD. Just it pulls people with ADD and shit like that. I know a lot of great money makers that have that shit like I do. And if you kind of get distracted a lot and you're able to get distracted, I would be very careful on what you start putting in your head and find a really trusted source. So I would say, Craig, if you get a chance to talk to Brad, I would say, Brad, maybe read some of this shit. Dude, this guy wrote Brad did a training course on entities before anyone was talking about it, before all this shit came out. He had his freaking training. There's stuff that you can read from years ago that are still relevant today if people know what the hell they're talking about, Mark was a smart dude. There's just a lot of people out there you can follow. I don't want to pitch anyone. I don't want to pitch anything. So I'm going to say right now, go through what Craig's been talking about, dude, because I know he's real and I trust him. So, there's tools that we can, we try not to be found online, to be honest. What's your domain, guys?
NFG.com or NFGSEO.com, sorry. Is our main thing. We post there randomly. We've got the monthly course, but we're not
here to pitch it.
Yeah. So.
Nah, these guys are not that easy to track down, and obviously trying to get images as well from these guys up to this show.
I don't take pictures much.
No. Brad's like, I don't do much pictures. Take this one or take that one. See you later. And I think Mike, you're even worse. But my graphic person somehow found something that was reasonably
the fucking biggest picture he could find of me too, dude. I lost 100 pounds and shit, dude. I stopped drinking, so I should say I stopped drinking heavily.
Well, after NFG the last time, fuck me, I don't know how you done it, but every time I glanced, even going for breakfast at like 10 a.m., I glanced over to the bar and you were still in there.
It's because he hadn't gone to bed yet.
I was like, fuck me, man. But yeah, good on you for being able to lose 100 pounds. You're looking well for it.
I appreciate it.
So Ryan's asking, so are location pages not worth it if you're ranking thousands of cities with a single or individual GMBs? That'll do it.
So we're talking about more of a shotgun method where it's like individual. Yeah. But I will say that like, there's going to be a set of location pages usually we call it organic, right? There's going to usually be location pages because it's a mixture. National and local are the same thing now. You're not going to be focusing on one or the other. You're going to be focusing on everything because everything is based right now on location, and it will be forever. I mean, that's just where the industry is going. So if you're not embracing the fact that it's all meshed and it all kind of ties in, and looking at like QDD, even though there's been changes like in the last week or two about QDD, which is Curie Deserves Diversity, it just you're going to want to see what's in your market and emulate what is working, because if you're watching your markets, you'll see they make a change when there's no updates going on. They'll do a small tweak because there's updates every day. And all of a sudden, boom, directories are back up at the top in your market, or boom, directories are gone. And it's just this. When COVID hit, I don't know who noticed it. Google decided to make a change. They dropped all the big shit back to the back and brought all the freaking small business shit up, because that's where they make their money on these small business advertising. If the small business advertisers aren't raking and pulling in cash, they're not paying for AdWords, right? So there's business behind this. And if you follow the business, you can follow the trends on how Google's coding this shit, right? So that's the kind of shit you want to pay attention to. So yes, there is a place to use a lot of location pages. I'm not going to say no, because it's not the same all the time. And it's just not. And anyone that says they do the same exact thing in everything they do, it's not real, I don't think.
Yeah. No, interesting. You, Brad, said earlier you had a giveaway
Oh yeah, let's. We did a webinar a few months back for. We've got the NFG monthly, but we did it for a select group there. So I've thrown the webinar up. If you go to nfgsecret.com, that's nfgsecret.com. Everyone can get that webinar if they want to check it out, and it's how we automate our link building and everything for local when we do have local clients. And what did we get that agency up to? 33 or so?
33,000 a month, I think.
Yeah.
They were like $1,000 to $2,000 campaigns that were costing $125.
Fuck.
Yeah. So if anyone wants to check that out, nfgsecret.com, that's kind of our little giveaway.
It's free
today. Yeah. Yeah. The webinar is free and everything. And you can actually get the plugin for free as well. But yeah, check that out if you want. And yeah, it's some pretty cool stuff. And even if you're not using the plugin, just using the basic SEO knowledge that the plugin brings in, what they use, you can do everything that a plugin does by hand, right? Pretty much all the time. But
I think the biggest site I know right now that's using that is doing about 20,000 a month, just using that pretty much. And
that's not even a big site. He's just
it's not
some big terms. Yeah.
But I mean, the largest to make like single site making money with that plugin as its main focus of marketing, which is literally plug and play. That's why we talk about automation and easy. This thing has been around. I'll give a little history. This has been around for 19 years now, and it's never had any trouble. Freaking Google knows about everything going on. It's completely safe. That's why we say you can use it for an agency, and that's how we built multiple agencies, is just using. Actually, that site we mentioned that was $150,000 purchase was using that plugin to rank.
Yeah.
So, and then they pulled the plugin. We just happened to know which plugin it was, and we were able to build the same damn shit.
Yeah, that's the way we were able to save that site, is because they pulled the plugin after they sold it. And we said, "Oh shit!" So that's how we were able to save it, because I was able to go in and do some 301 magic and crap like that. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
Someone's asking what the nfgsecret.com is to get the plugin.
Is there? We can drop it. I guess I can't drop it, and I don't know how to use this thing.
NFG
Secret.
There you go, guys. nfgsecret.com, and have a look at that plugin. Paul Williams, so we've got a couple of minutes left, so we'll go through some of these questions. Can interlinking Google properties help a GMB to get more power and rank higher in the map pack?
Yeah, I mean, I know this thing.
I like to back those up with more links. So,
yep.
Like Mike was talking about the tiering. You build that out. That's part of your entity. You're building relevance within the account, and then you back that up with power. So you just do any kind of niche edit, whatever type of tiered link building you like to use. Comments sometimes, if you know where to get the right comments.
I got a message from someone with that, like the guy who kind of put out in the industry, like after we had a conversation, like 2015, 14. He sent me Rhinoplasty. The Rhinoplasty, whatever site it was that Kyle had his site up for, he ranked a freaking Google Doc before they made the changes. Like it was sitting there in the position 1 right there. So yeah, if you know what you're doing and it makes sense time-wise for you, then do it. If it doesn't make sense time-wise or money-wise, maybe do something else.
It can just be labor-intensive doing it. Yeah, having that done. So.
And this is the second time I've seen this. Where is the couch for sale, ma'am? What the fuck is this couch?
I can sell them a couch if they want it, but
dude,
is that like
I've been watching the couch for sale, and also the couch about the transgender comment, dude, and it's like not leaving my head now. Thanks, guys, for getting couches stuck in my head. No idea, Craig, but it's cool.
Yeah, there's always some fucking weird quirk, but. This week obviously was an introduction to Mike and Brad and a bit about what they do. I'm pretty sure that you guys will clearly see just the vocabulary they use and everything else, that these guys absolutely know their stuff and then some. Next week we will be back at the same time. Who do we want to get on for next week as a special guest? If you guys get anyone in mind,
we can bring if we want to do linking instead of cloaking next week. Gary works really well. And if not, you want to do that?
Yeah,
we got time.
Up in the comments, see who we have that wants to come on, what needs to be discussed. you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, if anyone in here wants to come on next week too and ask some damn questions live, that might be a good idea too. So if you have anything you want to address, if you want to come out and show your face, do it. I'll tell you that. Go ahead.
I know a guy that will come on here and grill the absolute shit out of you guys. Chris Palmer, he loves all of this shit. And has 1,000,001 questions. Actually, we done the thing with Jordan, and he's and he was just like, after the show, we went off air, and he's just like, Jordan, can I ask you a question? And it went on like 45 minutes, another question, another question, another question. So he's probably really good and fucking passionate as fuck about it. So we can get Chris on, we can get Gary on, and then what we will do is I'll show this guy my sign as well.
Yeah, and if you jump in that plugin, if you do jump in that plugin, you can give people my Skype, Craig. I don't know if I'll see it, but shoot me a freaking Skype if you have questions about it, dude, because there's specific ways we use it that they're not going to necessarily talk about. But I'd rather it work for everyone than have people have to freaking dick around with it. So it's just Michael_Pearse on the number 1 on Skype, dude. If you can remember that, then hit me up if you jump in that plugin, because we've got some ideas for you.
I'm going to try it out myself, but thank you very much, Brad and Mike, and thank you everyone for attending. Hopefully you can get a wee flavour of what's going on, and we will catch you at the same time next week, guys. Just make sure you do give us a like and subscribe, and we will catch you next week.
Yep, thank you everyone for your time. Appreciate you guys.
Everyone.